Hello, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself with the name Koya. I'd like to start my story as an analogy to follow along with. Imagine a small snowball starting at the top of the mountain that accelerates, growing in speed and size. Eventually, it turns into a boulder, eventually forming into an avalanche. That's the best way for me to describe the last 15 years of my life. This started when I was 13 years old and I was targeted by predators online. With predators, they often do these three main things: 1. Groom, 2. Manipulate, and 3. Abuse you. These are things I became acclimated to. I have 6 people involved in my story. I want to share how each person caused the snowball to grow and grow until it felt like it became unstoppable. The first person is someone I met at 13 and was abusive towards me. I became familiar with manipulation from him, and he also led me down an alcoholic path by pushing an alcoholic lifestyle on me. The second person was someone who was an inappropriate age difference to me when we met. I was a minor in high school, and they were a sophomore in college. They, too, engaged in an alcoholic lifestyle, and was one of 3 people tied to my trafficking. The snowball in the mountain increased in size when this person raped me on Mother's Day in 2018, May 13th, when I was passed out from alcohol. Person 1 was present when this happened to me. I was also not legally old enough to drink yet. The third person is a groomer. They were someone with a 13-year age gap with me who had violent charges against him and threatened to kill me and even doxed me. He harassed me off and on for nearly 6 years. This person is a reflection of being accustomed to predators and their 3 main elements: grooming, manipulation, and abuse. The fourth person is someone I'd consider as the catalyst for turning the snowball into a boulder. He groomed me from a leadership role and learned how to keep me intoxicated from the first 2 people. He also had their lifestyle. He convinced me to be in my first adult relationship with him through grooming and abusing me. I was raped daily and kidnapped in the summer of 2020. They were 17 years older than me. I was in my younger 20s. The fifth person is from out of state. The second person in my story brought him up here knowing his felony charges: lewd and lascivious battery of a 12 to 15-year-old girl. This person highlights the trafficking portion of the story, which is where the avalanche begins. I found out after he left the state what his charges were and felt betrayed by my friend who brought him up here. I became the out-of-state person's 4th rape and impregnation victim, the youngest victim being the teenage girl. He assaulted her when he was an adult. I was trafficked by both men, coercing me to use my medical card to get them products, one through threats and another through violence. A burn mark remains on my living room wall to this day. I lost my pregnancy March 4th, 2023. The 6th person was the worst one. He had a 27-year age difference to me. This is when the avalanche felt unstoppable. He had knowledge of what everyone in my past has done and repeated it. He portrayed himself as a friend and neighbor. He was no friend. He targeted me after I lost my baby. He's an alcoholic and pushed alcohol as a coping mechanism for my loss. He talked to both persons 2 and 5. Person 5 exchanged my medical products with him, and person 6 knew I was being raped by him, which highlights my trafficking experience. Person 6 began with sexually assaulting me shortly after person 5 left, after a night I confided about my rapes and child loss. The assaults led to violent rapes, attempted murder, and having me leave my state. On October 2nd, 2024, when he turned violent against me with his elderly mother with Parkinson's and dementia present, I packed everything and left that night. I was finally free. Freedom is an interesting word and feeling. When we hear the words, some of us may think of eagles, a bird flying free in the sky. For me, I always thought of a bird in a cage, having the door opened and it being liberated. Feeling like the metaphorical bird in a cage. It's not easy after 15 years to fly free. It takes a lot of rebuilding and healing to get there. For now, I will hop down from my perch and learn to fly again slowly. Another element I'd like to draw attention to is being an Indigenous survivor. My grandmother on my maternal side is Nenets and my father is Altayan. That is in Siberia. Globally, Indigenous women are 10 times more likely to experience violence than other groups. I'm considered an MMIW survivor for surviving trafficking, kidnapping, and violence. MMIW stands for Murdered Missing Indigenous Women. Finally, I'd like to conclude my story with sharing the concept of success. When we hear of success, some of us may think of buying a new car, house, or starting a family. For me, success means I am an adult reflecting on the injustices I faced as a teenager and knowing that I am the person who'd protect the younger me. Sharing my story is imperative to showing how one snowball can accelerate and transform into an avalanche. Speaking up is a way to kick the snowball off the mountain so it doesn't transpire into something that feels unstoppable. Thank you very much.